Hey guys, Scott Fishman here with a great guest, someone I've talked to over the years, and I love seeing her career blossom. So it's perfect time to catch up with her. Deonna Purrazzo, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Awesome to see this opportunity that you've been given. You look back to WWE and really, it really is an example of knowing your worth and knowing your skill and kind of using, any setback as an opportunity. And then you certainly did that with TNA Wrestling, led you up to AEW. You signed and then appeared first in January. Now
Mhm.
6 months or so in. What was kind of, I know you've kind of been around a little bit when it comes to AEW, but being a part of the roster, I'm certain, certainly is a different animal. So take me through what your initial thoughts were and kind of how that's kind of how you feel today compared to that.
Yeah, I think walking into any locker room that's new to you or a new environment, a new company is scary because you're not comfortable. I was in TNA Impact Wrestling for 3.5 years, so that was my home. My husband was there. Some of my best friends were there, and I got to know everybody on such a personal and like intimate level. Working with them for that long, that walking into any new environment was so scary. How are the girls going to receive you? A lot of the girls in our AEW locker room I have never worked with before. So over the past, 6 months, it's been establishing a new relationship with them and letting them know the type of wrestler I am, the type of person I am. And just so all of those things make it a little bit like, ooh, is this going to be the same as it was before? Because it's not. But I think that, yeah, over the last 6 months, I've really made an impression on the girls. I think it's been super positive. I have really tried to put my best forward in this new company and working with brand new people and telling new stories. So I was scared, but I'm equally as excited.
You talked about Steve a little bit. I mean, I think when his deal came up with TNA, a lot of people are like, okay, maybe he'll go to AEW because, they're a couple, they're a married couple. But that wasn't the case. I mean, how is it kind of
Yeah.
adjusting your schedules based on, now you're in a different place and he's in a different place?
Yeah, it's definitely been hard. I feel like we're finally just finding our footing in that, because we also have never, while we've been together, the past 5 years, have been like on the road or like one of us has been gone as much as I've been gone. I'm gone every, Tuesday night, Wednesday. At some point, I get home on Thursday. And some weeks I'm there through Collision and Rampage. Our schedule's been a little bit different, so just adjusting to when we get to see each other and making those moments special and allotting time for date night or his birthday's this weekend, celebrating his birthday and making those moments special because right now they're far and few between.
Yeah. You come from the Knockouts locker room. You hear all the time how tight knit the TNA Knockouts locker room is, and then you come into this one. How would you kind of describe the dynamic? How do you compare the two, you'd say?
Honestly, in my opinion, they are very similar. They have very similar traits. There's the OGs like in TNA. You have Gail Kim. At one point we had Mickey James with us, who were there from the beginning and want to see this thrive and keep it like close to their heart, like their baby. And then at AEW, you have the same thing. You have Anna Jay, who was there from the beginning. You have Tony Storm, who's been there for a long time and is the current AEW Women's World Champion. You have Saraya, who's been around the block for how long, So there's a lot of similar parallels in terms of like women who see the potential to have a really great locker room dynamic and want to cultivate that. And so I feel like I just kind of like fit right in and Madison Rain is there. So obviously she's one of my real life best friends. So I have my person and there's a lot of similarities.
One person who hasn't been there, and it's crazy, she's been such a big part, a cornerstone of AEW, is Britt Baker. And you coming in and now she's not there. What
Yeah.
can you tell us about her and staying in touch with her? I mean, I bet it's so hard not to be able to perform like she has, especially with you there and you guys want it, being such good friends.
Yeah, it's been interesting because I think in our minds we always envisioned us being there together at the same time and doing it together, and that's not been the case for the last 6 months. So I am very excited for whenever Britt comes back and to get to work with her on that kind of level because we never have before, and also just to see how she can reinvent herself, what she can do because she's one of the girls, the OGs. She's been there since day one. She was the first female signed, right?
Yeah.
And to hear kind of her thoughts and her takes on the way this division has grown and the potential she sees for it in the future is really interesting. And it's some of the same things I want for our division. So it'll be fun to work together finally and hopefully achieve that.
One of the cool things I think I love to see is the friendship and bond that you have with not only Britt but Chelsea Green. And
Yeah.
there's always these photos from back in the day of you all having big dreams, and then now you're seeing you guys on the big stage. I mean, how do you guys reflect? I mean, what does it mean to you that you're all doing so well and you're kind of at the forefront right now, women's wrestling, with all the hard work that you guys put in? I'm sure you've leaned
Yeah.
on each other emotionally and things like that. So take me
Yeah.
through the feelings.
It's crazy. Yeah, I think we were all like, I was 19 years old or 20 years old when I met Britt and Chelsea for the first time, and to kind of see where we've all gone and where our paths have taken us, whether it's, me and Chelsea were in NXT together and Britt had just got signed to AEW, and then me and Chelsea veered off in TNA and Chelsea's back at WWE. Like, I think that at the end of the day, we are so fortunate because we've gotten what we've wanted out of this, right? And there's still so much more that we want and so much still left to achieve, but we were 20-year-old girls with these big dreams to take over this industry, to change this industry, to be world champions. And we've done that. And somehow we've managed through all the BS of this industry to stay best friends and to stay positive and want, if there's anything that I want for Chelsea Green or Britt Baker, it's to be equally or more successful than me. If there's anyone I could pick, it's those two. Or Karen Q or Tasha Steeles. Like, I've been able to cultivate this really tight knit group of a few girls who have been there from the beginning of my career and that I consider my family. Chelsea Green, I don't have a sister, but if I did, it was Chelsea Green. That's what our relationship is like. So to watch her on Monday nights or Friday nights and thrive and do what Chelsea does best is more fulfilling than anything I could do for myself, because I know the work she's put into it and what it means to her. So I thrive when my friends thrive. And to see them do that over the last, 5-6 years has been really fulfilling to me.
And you've been part of this new wave of talent coming over women's wrestling. How is it, big star Mercedes Mone, first match, Double or Nothing. How is it for you to see that? I mean, a lot of times, I've been critical, others have been critical of the AEW women's division, just saying not themselves, the performers, but the time that they're given, the storylines, the care. But it seems like there's, a turn because of you, because of Mercedes. I mean, talk about what you're feeling and what kind of she has added and how is it having her part of the roster as well.
Yeah, I think for me, when any woman comes in and says, "This is what I want," and these are my terms, and gets that, does great business for other women to come thereafter. So to watch her thrive in the position she's in, and she's about to get in the ring for the first time, and I know so many people have been looking forward to watching her wrestle again. I am one of those people. I'm very excited for her and for Willow. This weekend is my first Double or Nothing, and it's really interesting because I feel like the last 6 months I have been able to like do a lot of things 5 years ago that I maybe had the opportunity to do and chose not to do them. So all of these moments are extra special to me. And to know right now there's 2 women's matches on the card. There's Toni Storm versus Serena Deeb, and there's Mercedes Mone versus Willow Nightingale. Everyone should see that as an achievement. That's 2 women's matches on the card, and in any promotion that's not always the case. So women are thriving, and then you have storyline between myself and Thunder Rosa going on. If you watch Ring of Honor, there's Athena and Billy Starks and Red Velvet and Queen Aminata. There's a lot happening, and women are being used tremendously, in my opinion. So it's not always instant gratification. You got to work for it and you got to wait for it. And I think everything's paying off right now.
You certainly have experience on that. Good things come to those who wait
Absolutely.
sometimes. How would you kind of describe Tony Khan as someone to work under compared to others that you've done over the years?
Yeah, I mean, I would again liken it a lot to the ease and the flow that I experienced at Impact TNA. It's very lenient if you have questions, if you don't understand. Your producers are able to like get answers for you and adjust to the story you're telling. So I've not had too many like of those moments where I'm questioning him or I'm asking for clarity directly from him, but just working through someone like a Madison Rayne or through a Sarah Stock or, Scotty Too Hottie, I've been able to work with quite a bit, or Jerry Lynn. He seems very flexible and wanting to make everyone happy and to tell the best stories. So I always appreciate that, because that's my goal. That's what I want to do. I want to tell the best stories, and I want to be the best good guy or the best bad guy that there is. And I feel like, now that I'm a bad guy, I'm in my greatest era. This is what I do best, but it's been really fun to navigate those waters and figure out who I'm going to be at AEW.
Of course, this is all going into Forbidden Door next. Who would kind of be an opponent? They have partnerships with CMLL,
Yeah.
Stardom. Who would you want to see yourself face?
Ooh. I've said this before. I would love to wrestle Mayu again from Stardom. That's a match that the rematch would be like 5 or 6 years in the making from, OG Women of Honor days in the Women of Honor women's tournament. That's one of the matches that I would love to have.
Awesome. One thing I respect about you too is not only were you're wrestling, but going to school. I mean, how is it juggling that, and kind of why was it so important for you to still get your education and things like that, and what kind of your hopes of doing that outside of wrestling?
Yeah, I think all I wanted to be a wrestler since I was 9 years old. All my whole entire life, and particularly adult life, has just been consumed by professional wrestling. And when I was in NXT and ultimately was released, I just felt like I had planned like my whole life. Like when I was 9, I knew I was going to go to wrestling school. I tried to convince my parents to let me do it at 15. I turned 18. I graduated high school. I went to wrestling school. I wanted to make it to WWE. Now I did that. And I felt like this isn't as great as I thought it would be, or I don't love this as much as I thought I would. It's time to like reevaluate and figure out who else Deonna Purrazzo could be. I was always the wrestler, the girl who was going to be the wrestler, the wrestling fan. What else did I have potential to be in my life? If I don't think this is it for me anymore, and it was kind of like a scary realization of like, I don't have anything else, and there's no backup plan, and so that's why I chose to go to school, because I thought, one, if I'm not going to wrestle anymore, I need a college degree to get a job. But also, two, if I do continue to wrestle, I need an outlet that isn't related to wrestling at all, isn't something that I could like, that can't have my full attention. When I was doing my schoolwork, it was, I got a bachelor's in history. My capstone was 25 pages. I don't have time to pick up the phone and scroll through Twitter and look at what's happening, in the wrestling world right now. I have to dive in 100% into this if I want to accomplish it. And it was just another outlet for me to not have my heart and soul 100% on wrestling, because I felt like that destroyed me at one point. And if I was going to learn from my mistakes and be better this time around when I was an Impact, and I was going to kind of be able to let wrestling go a little bit, not control me 24/7, I needed something else. And for me, that was school.
Yeah, I think of Madison and what she did with nursing, so I'm always fascinated by I don't know how you guys juggle it. I couldn't imagine. But you make it happen. I love to see that.
Exactly.
A lot of people are excited with the potential of AEW, and what are your kind of thoughts when it comes to the women's division of having a women's tag team titles? If there were one, who would you want to team with?
Ooh, I think the most logical answer is Britt. I don't know if we could have some different rendition of VXT in AEW or what that would look like, but coming from a division that had or has still world tag team championships, it's interesting, because I think more opportunity for the women is amazing, but I don't think it's something you can just like introduce and say, here's women's tag team championships because you wanted it, so we gave it to you. I think that there's a long process in terms of developing real teams and having people have partnerships that are meaningful and long lasting. Especially for women, I think it's really easy to just throw two random girls together and say, and you're a tag team. And I think that hinders women's tag team divisions a whole bunch when someone, unfortunately gets injured, and then we just pop another person in there. It takes time to build chemistry and relationships that then you can feel through the screen. And so I think if there was going to be AEW Women's World Tag Team Championships, I would like to see it far out. I would like to see our tag division really cultivated and relationships really formed. And maybe there's a tournament to solidify, who would wrestle for the titles or who becomes the champion. But something a little bit more long-term storytelling and large formatted instead of just like, you asked for it, so here it is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Lastly, we're at a great time in women's wrestling right now. We're seeing characters like Tony Storm, Timeless Tony Storm, kind of getting the creative freedom to do what they're doing. We're getting the great matches that you're involved in. What's the state of women's wrestling right now? Where do you want to see it go next?
Yeah, I mean, again, I can only speak for where I'm at. I think that, um, again, our AEW women's division is thriving, and there's a lot of fun stories being told, and everything's kind of intertwined. You still have people who, like myself, haven't gotten an opportunity to have a rematch after they tapped out the champion. You have a lot of people with a lot of grievances in our division who want a shot at the AEW Women's World Championship. And coming out of Sunday, people who are going to want a shot at the new or the reigning and defending TBS Women's Champion. So I think the next step is, a women main eventing a pay-per-view. I've been very vocal throughout my career about the importance of that. I think that right now there's just so many stories and there's so much going on, and that's best case scenario. So maybe the next thing is telling a really great story that warrants a main event position. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we got Willow, we got Mercedes. We may have that at Double or Nothing after this comes out. Maybe we have already had it. So see
Maybe.
what happens. Thank you so much, Deonna. Looking forward to seeing what's next with you in AEW. Of course, you can catch her on the shows on TNT, TBS, those AEW shows. Check listings for that because sometimes it kind of shuffles around. And then also on Ring of Honor occasionally with the Honor Club. So thank you so much, Deonna, for the time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a great day.
All right.